Good morning, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Just getting ourselves set up here. That's not what I want. Everything seems to be working. Okay. Good morning, Vicki. How are you? Let me know if you can see me and hear me. Good morning, Jill. Where's it, John? Hope you are doing well. We are going to have some fun. So right about this time, actually, all all year, I'm getting ready for a showcase, um, craft fair, and there's only one that I do each year. Um, and I just all throughout the year, I just get prepped for it. So and I'm always trying to create new designs, and again, it's all paper. Um, so today I actually created a little tiny, trifolio, cute, adorable, small in size. Cordelia, good morning. Yeah, I can only do one. I'm actually in the process, Jill, of possibly adding a second. Um, so that's still up in the air. I'm going to try to do it next year, and that one's just going to have a focus on the journals, all the journals that I've been creating, and all of that fun stuff. Where this one, it's ornaments, it's folios, it's journals, it's scrapbook albums, mini albums, um, just all kinds of fun stuff. So here, what I created is just a little trifold for a gift card holder. Yes, I even decorate my templates. I know, it's a little obsessive, but it looks cute, and then I won't lose it. So your gift card will sit on this side. Here, it's going to be actually a tag that we put, which is the closure for this. And you can put like a photo here, photo there if you want, or a message. And then we've got a little pocket there. Here we just have a simple flip out with another pocket. And I think I'm going to forego this pocket actually, um, and just put something else here. So these are the templates that I create. Um, Out of scraps and all of that fun stuff. So I'm just going to put a note here. No pocket. Can't spell pocket. And then I'm just going to put add die cut square or rectangle. I'll get the point. So that's kind of how my mind works when it comes to these. Um, I think I've been in this one that I've done for, I'm going to say, right around 10 years, and I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. I have a ball doing this one. So, good morning, Dawn. How are you? Now, it would be different if, I'd be in more, but, life just kind of hits that. So, I just spend all year getting ready for this. This is when my die cutting machines don't like me. Um, I do a lot of die cutting for my ornaments that I create. And again, it's another way to stretch our supplies. I am doing well. Yes. To turn them into ornaments, I do not, believe it or not, I do not do cards at this show. It's all ornaments, journals, folios, all that fun stuff. All right, so these are all the bases that I'm going to make. Yes, it's a lot. We will not get through these today. This would be an absolute marathon. But let's see how many we can get through. What's nice is I can get 2 gift cards, 2 of these little templates here, out of 1 sheet. I take an 8.5 by 11 and I cut it in half, so it's 4.25 by 11, 4.25 by 11. And then it's cut down to, I'm looking at my template here, I think I know, 9.5. So we are going to get our cutter out, and we are just going to cut a few of these just to have them ready. Good morning, Rebecca. Welcome. And I'm just, every once in a while, you're going to see me stretch across to get my water. These scraps do not go to waste. You can use those for the pockets. And then I've also grabbed my other scraps of craft and white. Now, you can certainly, this is a good project if you've got smaller scraps, to use those smaller scraps. I'm actually going to be using a few different paper pads that I have, because a lot of my scraps now are 12 by 12 papers. So the patterns are a little bit big. A little bit big in size. And that's a good thing. That means that I have been using my scraps, my Christmas scraps at least, so that is a good thing. A project like this I do in production style. So I get all of my bases cut. Now I'm cutting off down to the 9.5. And I'll have those ready. I'll stop cutting at some point. Let's see, how many do I have? Okay, 3, 6, 9, 12, 13, 14. Oh, let's cut one more. I use most of the time like odd numbers. I'm going to hold these because what's good with these is these are used for the pockets. But I do have my white scraps set. All right, so I'm going to move these out of my way, or else I'm going to make lots of boo-boos. All right. So we have our bases, 4.25 by 9.5. And we're going to score. So along the 9.5. I gotta remember now what I'm scoring along. There we go. Yeah, there's all kinds of notes. This is how I do this. Cordelia, your food. Mm. You know, you all make me really hungry when you do this. Good morning, Ave. Yeah, I don't do cards. It's really funny. Now, the reason why is there used to be a card maker at this show. Now, she is no longer in the show, um, but I'm still up in the air if I'm going to do that. Because I do donate a lot of my cards, and I really enjoy doing that. All right, so along this 9.5, we are going to score at 3 and 3 1/4. I'm using 110-pound paper. 6 1/4 and 6.5. So we have these 1/4-inch gaps. And then I'm going to score all of these at the same time. So 3, 3 1/4, 6 1/4, and 6.5. So yeah, I have almost all of the ornaments that I'm creating die cut. And I think my die cutting machine's just coming to the end. It's every time I go near it, it's like, nope, I've had enough. But I do turning dies into ornaments. Good morning, Nikki. Good morning, Gwen. How are you all doing? Me and my die cutting machine, we have a love-hate relationship. Very much so. And this year, I'm actually ahead. I don't want to jinx myself, but I'm actually not waiting to the last minute. I usually do that. But I'm always looking for different stuff to make. And for years, when I started this showcase, I sewed. My first shop was sewing, so I made zipper pouches, bags. I did do quilts, meaning I sewed the shell together, and then I would ship it off for somebody to quilt. And it was fun. But then I got into paper. And it was Lindsay, the Frugal Crafter. And she started back in the day stamp school. She did this series. So that kind of hooked me in. And then I also, the first card maker I started watching, other than Lindsay, was Jennifer McGuire. And the rest is, as we say, history. Gail Agostinelli, she got me into journals. And I should say inspired. These people absolutely inspired me to do this. So we are, let me finish up the scoring of it and I'll let you know. We are making, I designed a gift card holder. I'm getting ready for my craft showcase. That's in December. I do this all throughout the year. So it's ornaments, journals, scrapbook albums, folios, all kinds of stuff. I know I'll need that again, but for now, we're going to do this. So now our pieces are scored, and this is what it looks like. So it's a little hook here, flows out this way. We're not going to put that pocket there. We're going to put something else there. There's a pocket here. A tag will actually be the closure for that flip. And then here is the gift card holder section. So again, here with the piece that I'm going to put here, they can write their message here. They can put a photo here or a note. They can do that here as well. So it's like a gift card holder slash mini photo thing. Or the recipient, once the recipient gets it, you know, this isn't like a gift card holder where it's like, oh, okay, what do I do with this now? They can use it to put Christmas photos for that holiday season and journal in it. So that is what we are doing right now. I do not. I have a video on some of the ornaments. I didn't know if you guys would want to see them. I can show you some of the ornaments that I do. Would you like to see them? Because I keep them, I always, oh, okay, that was all in capitals, Cordelia. All right, well, we can take a break and I can show them to you. They're sitting in here. Good morning, Maddie. Okay. So remember what I say. We have our stash, whether it's filled with scraps, paper, stamps, and dies, all of that fun stuff. But we can use them in other ways. Hang on. So I keep a box, because that's how I remember how I made them. Okay. So this one here, and I'll try to remember the dies. So this one, so I love wood slices. So this is from Scrappy Tales, her holiday leaves, and then this is the layered die from Honeybee. It's the cardinal. It has the cardinal and the chickadee. And of course, we had to do one with a chickadee. So we have those. Add a little bit of paste, embellishments, and then cute ornaments. Cute ornaments. Beth, good morning. I also do an owl, and again, this is from Scrappy Tales. I gotta make sure I have 2 layers on that. I also do the owl. This is paper tray ink. And then the little tiny pine cone with a little tiny ribbon there. So I do. I love wood slices. And these wood slices are like the 4-inchers. This one may be like the 3-incher when it comes to that. Because I have tons of these and I want to use them up. I need to use them up. I must. This one's actually going to be discontinued after this year. So, remember I said I found all kinds of those hoops. So I put a scallop in the back to cover up the backing. And then this here, I think this is from Pink Fresh. And then this is foiled. And then I just put a banner in the back. And this is all ink stenciled. So it just makes a cute little ornament there. But this is the last time this one will come out, because I do change them. I keep rotating them when it comes to all of that. Now, for those of you that love glitter, I like the effect of glitter. I'm just not a glitter person because it just gets all over the place. So if you take a die cut of a snowflake, it can be any one that you want to use, no matter how big or small. This is actually two-sided. So, and these D's means it's display. You can layer it up. I added pearls, and then with these hoops, and it's funny because now I've gone through them, so now I actually have to buy them. It's funny. Put a little bit of glue and then dipped it into glitter. I believe this is retiring after this year as well. So again, have fun with your dies. I had tons of these pom-poms. I didn't know what to do with them. Pattern paper, just cut a circle, did the scalloped again, put another circle in there. I have a couple dies with antlers. This one's also retiring. I keep showing you the ones that are retiring. Okay, it is Pink Fresh. It's beautiful. And yeah, Nicole Spore. God love her. Yeah. Bless her. Yes. She's dangerous to watch for me. This one here, this is the Simon Hurley Globe collection. These trees, that house, this row, this Santa, this base, Marion Bright. So I turned that into a snow globe. This one is not retiring. Not retiring. This one's actually a big seller every time I make that. And then we just have the Marion Bright at the bottom. Oh, nice autumn journal. Yes. This is Memory Box, and they have the snowman. They also have a nativity one, and then they have their base. So again, it can be a tag or an ornament. And then again, I just die cut it. This is an old lawn fawn. And then and this I actually, when it came to the snowman and the star, all in white cardstock, pull out the alcohol markers and just color it in, and then just use two different greens. I think this one's going to retire. Let's see. I love my birch press layers. These are big. Scraps. These just go right through my scrap cardstocks. Solid and the specialties, they just go to town with those. This is a new one. So yeah, still have lots of the small ones. So just made a little one. Now these here, I do continue to get these because these I actually make in a garland as well. This is going to be the single ornament, but I make these in a garland with all of the reindeer name going across it. And the last one has this for Rudolph. So, you know, everyone sing the song, Dasher, Prancer, going across, and then that's just a piece of garland for the tree. So, yeah, have fun. And I just string it through there. Gotta have a Tim Holtz poinsettia. This is tattered poinsettia, because I actually love the steel rule dies. You can just die cut like there's no tomorrow. And then this is just vintage pattern paper. Blizzard goes across it. And then I get these. These are thin wood bases. Every year, me and my sister do the Merry Jingle walk. I won't say what the word is, H-E double hockey sticks, because it kills us. We start at like 7 in the morning and go until midnight. Yeah, we can't do that anymore. Whew. And I always find these bases at Michael's, like 75% off. So every year I'm buying them. And it's just putting that there, adding vintage photo around it, and then just having fun curling these and having fun. Big seller. Big seller on that one. They had lots of circles. I forget what die this is from. So they had 3 different circle sets. So this is a 4-inch. I don't know what that one is. Maybe a 3-inch, and then a small one. So it looks like the snowman's melting. You know. Let's see. Here's another one of those wood bases from Michael's. Add a little bit of greenery, a little bit of music sheet in the back. If your journals, we got coffee dyed papers, we've got advertisement papers, we've got music sheets. Just put it on top of the tag, add the bow, and it's a cute little ornament. I do coffee cups. So that's the Spellbinder's Snowman. That's the Spellbinder's Reindeer. And then that is the Simon Says Santa Claus. And again, just add pattern papers. I run the bands. These two here are the Trinity stamped coffee cup dies. So I use those for the bands, and then I run the band part through a embossing folder just to give it a little bit texture, or I leave it blank. This one's retiring this year. I feel bad. No one really liked Santa. This one's going to retire, and a penguin's going to come in. So I have those, and I get my coffee cups from Amazon, very reasonably priced. I also, the poinsettia will be retiring this year. And then this is the Spellbinder's die with the sled and the ice skates. It makes a beautiful ornament. And I double these. So when I'm die cutting these, when you're using your dies and making an ornament, you do want to use heavyweight cardstock, and you do want to, on some of the pieces, like for the sled itself, you want to double it because that's going to give it its stability. And just like this is doubled, this is doubled, this is doubled. So now it's got its strength so that it can be stored. Now these, the recipient just has to be careful, or the person buying it, because these are not doubled. So they just have to be careful when it comes to that. But it makes a beautiful ornament. It doesn't have to sit on the front of your card. Tags make beautiful ornaments. Same thing with this 4-inch wood base. Again, music sheet. This is the honeybee candy canes, and then all the greenery that comes with it. Why not just put that? It makes a beautiful ornament. So you can take your dies, and that's just some of them. There's about 10 new designs that are still in the works because we're still die cutting. So that's the basis of the ornaments. I'm sorry I showed you a lot of the ones that are retiring this year. But you can get a look, get a feel on how you can use your dies by just putting it on a different type of base. Looking at, mix and matching. And yes, we've got coffee cups that we do, but some of those dies that we have make great fronts for them. I mean, why not? Simple shapes, give us that illusion of something. So look at your dies a little differently. Now, you guys know we can't be complete without a journal ornament. So this is literally, if you take an 8.5 by 11 sheet and quarter it, um, this is just one of the quarters, so you can get 4 from one sheet. I use pattern paper for the background. I have an antique clip there. It comes with one of these clips, little jingle bells, and a charm off a paper clip. And these are my scraps, my cut aparts, or my cut-offs from all the different papers that I use. Little tiny envelope, old pieces that I print out and coffee dyed, and it is a sewn signature. So there's the little tiny envelope in there and all that fun stuff. And then there's a hole punched in the back. I didn't want to put because they may want to use another closure. I love these. These are my favorite. And then there's a hole right there so that they can use the little tiny clip. And then, of course, we've got to have a ribbon closure. And then a loop with more charms. Gotta have little bells. And then these are just little tiny sentiments that I put. So that's part of them. And there's about 10 to 12 new ones coming out. I do garlands and all of that fun stuff. My favorite garlands to make, I actually use the waffle flower stamps, the whole stencil collection thingy. Technical words, you all know what I mean. It's the postage stamps. That's it. So the poinsettia, the snowman, the gingerbread house, and then they just recently came out with new ones, the bows. I actually turn those into garlands as well, because one set will be the string, because I set them, you know, apart, and then I do it twice so that it's on the other side as well if it flipped. But if it flips, I've got to have the scene on the other side as well. So I turn those into garlands. So, do you know, do that, Cordelia. Maybe we'll do that next week. I'll show you mini journals next week. You want to see that next week? We could do that. Christmas tags they were okay with me. I think it all depended upon the Christmas tag when it came to that. All right, so now I know 1, 2, 3. Let's get back to the project. So this is good for one of our pockets. And now I know we're going to have a second pocket, because now I'm going to cut all my pieces for the inside. So I know I have one, I just need to have the other. And we're just going to do what I refer to as a scant 3 inches by 1.5. So term scant, if some of you are quilters, will know that phrase. It's just under that measurement so that I don't cross over my score line over here. So I just want to go just under my 3 inches, and then the other ones are 1.5. So each one of these is giving me 2. These are already our offcuts from our 8.5. Our panels that we did here are already at 1.5. So we just have to do the scamp, and I'm just going to confirm, yes. And let me move those because then I can keep my counts straight. So yeah, look at your, I mean, great for gifts, to make ornaments out of your dies. We just need to, you know, get ourselves outside of the box so that we can look at our stash a little differently. And then if we have anything that we have a lot of, that's me. Or if I go to a thrift store and I see, that's where I'd gotten a lot of those hoops also from my sister, because she stopped using wooden hoops. There was also a project that she was creating with wooden hoops, so she gave those all to me. Wooden hoops are also good to create a seam if you have smaller dies. So mixing and matching is just awesome. Have a good day, Vicky. Thank you for stopping by. Yeah, right. Fudge. Fudge is awesome. Alright, so those are cut down now. And now we just need, let's see, that's 4. I know I'm going to get 2, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Do these. So that I like to do. I like to come up with different ways of using our dies, especially Christmas. I am finding that Christmas is very tough for me to pass along, and I look at a lot of stamps and dies. And I know this month is Stamptember. It's always fun. I'm honestly glad that Stamptember I used to go crazy with. Absolutely crazy. And I don't anymore, so I'm doing well. I'm doing very well. Actually great. But there was always one stamp collection that I had to have. And you all know who that is. So they already released his. Now I can breathe. I'm not worried. I don't have to not sleep. Have my phone near me to say, okay, when this is going live. Very exciting. So now I can just sit back and relax. All right, now we got our pockets cut. So now we are all set with that. Oh, that was not a good idea. Okay, let's do that. Move that back. All right, pockets done. Now the only piece we really have to cut 2 more pieces, and that is this piece here, and that's, I know, strange cuts, 3 1/8 by 2 3/4. So we're going to go 3 1/8 by 2 3/4. And then we'll be scoring along this side at 1/2 inch. So lots of cutting, but once you have it done, you have it done. And then we can just have fun creating our pages. And I'll create one completely so that you all can see that. But for me, it's best to go production style. And I think I'll just cut one more of these, because I'm sure that cutting sound is going to make you all crazy. And then this piece that we need is 3.5 by 3.25. So we've got 3.5 by 3.25. And we'll be scoring this piece as well. And we'll just do one more. And this is just a very a basic setup. So if you, I do keep a lot of these. Now these I won't, but these strips I will, because I'll use them to back sentiments. Okay, so we've got our pockets. Set these aside so that I know. So we are set up for 5. So yeah, 2 pockets, a flip, and a flop and a flip, or what I call them, a flop and a flip. So very basic construction. So as I said, if you're curious about scrapbook albums, this is a good place to start. Because nothing's too intricate, nothing's too elaborate, but it's going to give you great results. What I like about scrapbook albums is it makes me slow down. So that is our base. We have 1/4 inch here, and we have a 1/4 inch here. And since nothing's really overlapping, and what I mean is I had a pocket here with a flip coming in, that's an overlap. So I took that out because I removed that pocket. So I can put that in right now. At least get those pieces attached. So the flips and the flop, that's going to get attached. So this one here is 2 3/4 by 3 1/8. So along the 3 1/8, we want to score at 1/2. That's going to go there. And then this piece here is 3 1/4 by 3 1/2. So 3 1/4 by 3 1/2, and along the 3 1/2, we're going to score at 1/2. So I am going to get all of these scored because I have a bad habit of scoring on the wrong side. Yep. especially when these measurements are really close. And they are. And this one's along the 3 1/8. And again, we're still going to do that half. Now, if you want to do a quarter, you can. I just like the half. I know that it's going to be secured in there with the pattern paper that's going to cover it up. All right, so now that's all set. Now I don't have to worry about this. And I keep everything lined up. So pockets, center, side. We want to burnish these. And I burnish them on both sides. That helps to keep them flat. I'm not going to add any magnets to these. This piece here is just going to sit right there. And I always lay the pieces down first in case I have to trim any part of this off. And bingo bammo. Yep, already did that one wrong. See? Yay me! So we're going to set those aside. I will use them, but we've got to recut. So, yeah. All good. This is crafting at its finest. And it doesn't help when you read something upside down. Yep, that's what I did. So 3 1/2 by 3 1/4. So instead of scoring along the 3 1/2 side like I did, I needed to score on the 3 1/4. And you'll see, but that's why, again, it slows me down. I'm always checking to make sure that the pieces are working before I add glue, before any of that. And I always like to get my pieces into the album as much as I can, because then that helps me to avoid boo-boos. Again, happy accident. So again, this piece is 3 1/2 by 3 1/4, and it's along the 3 1/4 that we want to do a 1/2 inch. And I'll show you the difference of why, because I'm sure someone's saying, okay, what was the difference? I don't see a difference. Now, I could have taken that piece and trimmed it down. Absolutely. But that's not how I designed it. So yeah, so let me get my middle piece in. Again, I'm setting it in here to make sure that it's not hitting the score lines or anything else before I do anything. These I know I've got right. I don't cut off the corners of my flaps and my floops. And I'm just going to eyeball the center, and I'm lining it up along with the edge of the top of the album. I'm not going to put the pocket in yet. I am going to get it set in place, and I do want to trim this just a little bit because I don't want it hitting the fold. It'll just hinder it, and it won't fold correctly. So that is perfect. That one's going to go there. And this one I can trim off once it's in there. So here come my clips. I love these clips. And now our side. So here's the one where I made the mistake. So you can see the difference in the sizes. So this one's more of a square, this one's more of a rectangle. But the true difference is the width. You can see there's a 1/4 of an inch less, and that's what we want for this, because when I put this one in here, it's not coming up to the fold. When I put this one in here, I knew it wasn't right because it's crossing over the score line. So that's how I knew, okay, something's not right here. But I can put this piece in because nothing's crossing over it, where the pockets can't go in because something's crossing it. And there we go. We have our base. Now, I didn't put the pockets in yet because I need to put a piece of pattern paper in behind these. Now, you can certainly put these in first and then trim your pattern paper and tuck a little bit in there. To me, that's too much work. And I know somebody will say, okay, you're wasting paper. Okay. Possibly. This is one of the collections. I really like the scrapbook.com collections. I think they're a great value. These are the 6x8. You get 40 sheets. They are double-sided. And I think they're beautiful patterns. I've really become attached to them. You get 5 sheets of each of the patterns. So there's 8 different patterns to give the 40. And they're always running a sale on these. And that's when I get these, when these are on sale. So these I can get usually for like $8. And I just think it's a great value. Let's see, let me get caught up in the comments. Let's see. I'm sorry, I'm tapping. Oh my goodness. Maddie, how have you been? So, yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm, again, it's, yeah, I'm always going to be transparent. We all create differently. And again, I will, you know, explain why I do what I do, and I get it. You know, there's things that, yes, I will save the pattern paper. I save my scraps. But I don't like to cut out, especially on specialty papers, I don't like to cut out the centers anymore because I have found my piece has concaved in there, and that just makes me nuts. And yes, I could take a piece of my scrap, I could put it in the center, and then it won't do that. I get it. But again, it's just adding things. So, but I really like, I think these are at a great value. I also have the holiday, and they're thick. They're really thick. I really like the colors in this. They're a nice weight. And then I have winter, and I know they're running a sale now on them, and of course I saw other collections. So, you know, I'm really good with stamps and dies anymore. I'm very particular with stamps and dies. There's only certain collections that I've got to have. And I think that's why I'm so calm now through Stamptember, because I already got it. I got the one collection that I had to have. It's stressful. It was stressful. I mean, I would tell Biddy, keep an eye out. You got to let me know. Here's my phone. You got to text me if it's there. It was horrible. Absolutely horrible. But yeah, it's just the things that we do. So here we go. So now we're just going to choose our papers. Pattern paper collections are great for this. Your scraps are great for this. But again, like I said before, a lot of my scraps right now are 12 by 12. And the patterns are pretty big. So these, I like the 6 by 8 because I get the best of both worlds. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull out some paper. I don't want a rainbow. Let's see, do I like the other side? Oh, no. You never know. I like the fact that you get 5 of each, so we are not going to be okay. I've got to have, you know what, I'm just going to pull one of each out to the side that I like. And this is how I go through my Simplicity series. I page through and I look and say, okay, what are the designs that I like? And I'm just starting to mix and match now. Oh, no, that's a nice pop of color. That is not Christmas. That... Oh, that's fun. I'm not crazy about words. So it's awesome that we get, so that's how I map things out. Everyone's always wondering, Des, how do you map things out? There you go. I like the fact that their collections also have solid cardstocks in them for matting. You know, again, pattern paper pads to me are mini kits. They are just mini kits. All right. I really like these two put together. And I really like these two put together. So now you're into the mind of how I look at my pattern papers. I like these two together. Oh no, too close. I like those. And I like those. So why am I looking at my pattern papers in twos? Because pocket background, flip background. It for me, it goes by twos when it comes to certain things. Now the thing is, I really like this for the outside. So that goes off to the side automatically. Just saying, it's just gonna move. Now the best part is when I designed this, I had a 6 by 8 paper pad in mind, 3 and 3. So since this is 6 by 8, by cutting this in half, I will have my 2 panels. And I'm not gonna be wasting. That's how I don't waste paper. I look at what is what's the size that we are looking at when it comes to that. I'm going to put my tags to the back, and now I'm going to look at, okay, what do I want to go where? So this here, since I have 2 ornaments, this is where we're going to go with this. So since these measure, and always check your measurements. Hold your ruler correctly. So this is just under 3. Again, we lose part of it when we score. So, to remind ourselves, 4 1/4 by a scant 3. Sorry, I'm throwing things. Flo, good morning. You snuck in. Yes. You did. Okay. Oh, LaFrance, you snuck in there too. I noticed that, Dawn. They've been, and you get a text if you're on there as well. So I am going to, since I'm going to basically say this is 3 and 4 1/4. So I'm going to cut this 2 3/4. I'm going to take it down 1/4. Always know your pattern papers if it's directional, and we're going to cut that by 4. I am just on the inside going to have 1 layer of our paper. I'm not going to do a double mat. It's just, I'm going to use the white base as the mat. All right, so we have that. And again, all of these scraps, we're going to put them, again, I'm making about 45 of them. And then we have our pocket. So I'm going to cut it this way. In fact, I think I'm going to go down 1 inch, 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to cut this to 1 3/8 by 2 7/8. And then I think, here's my pocket. Again, map it all out. So that when I put this in here, yeah, and I got to remember to put that pocket down first so that I can trim it. And I think, I know everyone's going to holler, I'm going to change the cut on this one. I'm going to go down 1/8 of an inch. So again, 2 7/8 by 4 1/8. If I was doing a double mat, because I usually do, then I would use the measurements, I'd go down 1/4. But since I'm not, I just want a thin border that goes around this. So now that we know this, I get this in. Now I'm going to get this piece, and I need my hole punch. I'm going to line this up. I'm just going to trim it. I'm going to eyeball. There we go. I'm going to get this glued on there. I know everyone's amazed. There is no vintage photo that's coming. I shouldn't say that. There is going to be vintage photo. And again, I just make my adjustments. I will cut the piece that I have to. We've got a small border, and yes, it's larger up here, but that's because I'm going to come in. I'm just going to eyeball. I'm going to cut the notch out. So now I've got that little bit of decorative border, thin line of glue. And then we will get this down. So I like to do the whole page with the pattern paper. I just think it looks nicer. I think it's not, I just think it's nicer. We can see the pocket here. We've got the pocket there. If I get my template, now this is thick because of course I double it. Here's gift card, and you can see fits perfect in there. And it's snug. Gotta have a snug fit. Let's do this side now. And I'm going to keep all my scraps together. I know. Bad cut. Bad cut. But you don't know it until you see it. Unfortunately. So now that we know, I'm going to do 4 1/8. And we're going to do 2 7/8. We're going to put this over here. So I'm now hiding that hinge. So that's going to go there. And now we've got this side, and I want to do that with this. So again, I gotta measure. I really need to find a ruler that's just on the edge. I'm just saying. So this is 2 3/4 by 3 1/2. So 3 3/8. By 2 5/8. Lots of fun cuts. And there we go. So now we have that. And now we need to look at what we're going to put on the outside of that. I have no idea. Now you can put the same paper there if you want. Totally your choice. For right now, I'm just working here. So for this, we've got the same thing. 4 1/8. I'm going to trim that down just a smidge more. Again, your score lines take up your base. And again, I'm hiding that flap. So now you can't see that flap. So you want to get your flaps and your floops and your flops in there before you put your base papers, because now you can't see that. All right. Now we can take care of this pocket, and I'm going to do the same thing. This one is already trimmed, and for that one, I want to use this one. So we are going to go with 1 5/8 and 2 7. And I'm going to bring that down just a little bit. And I'm keeping the measurements true. If this, 3 inches wide, taking it down to 2 7/8, because I already have a big border going on here. Where's my, there it is. Then border. I am all about when I create something like a gift card holder. Instead of it going in the trash, what can the recipient do with it? So that's kind of sort of my thought process. Just saying. It's kind of what I'm looking at. What my reasoning is. But see, I'm not completely wasteful. Alright, so now we've just got this and this. So now we just need, let's look at our last two. So I think I'm going to put that there, and then we're going to put the trees on the outside. Yes! So again, this measures 2 3/4 by 2 5/8. So 2.5 by 2 5/8. 2.5. Yep, 2.5. By 2 5/8. Yep. And again, look at your pattern papers when we're doing the flips, the flops, the floops. Because you want 2.5 by 2 5/8. You want your pattern paper to go in that same direction. Again, ask me how I know. So we want to get this one in. So we want the candy canes going in the right way. And now we want this to go there. Now again, I am eyeballing this. I'm okay that this is off a little bit. I know, it's shocking. But I am. I mean, you can measure it to make sure that she's perfectly centered. No one's, now that I pointed it out, you'll notice it, but no one's really going to notice that because they're just going to look at all the beautiful papers going across and all of that. So now our inside's done. Inside though. So just catching up on the, oh, Jill, thank you so much. Oh, I hope John's okay. Let's see. All right, that's our inside. Now we're going to work on the outside. So I need to make sure that I keep this the way that it's sitting. And again, it's where the, this is FT, front top. This is back top. Again, these are going to be covered. You can put marks. Oh, we got to choose that one too. I'll do that one later. I think I'm actually going to put this. So that's why we'll let that like that. All right. So what I want on this one and this one is this. So 2 7/8. And this is where the 6x8 paper comes in really handy. 2 7/8. But oh no, it won't. Okay, because that's 4 1/8, and then 2 7/8 by 4 1/8. I misspoke. That's okay. These are great journaling cards, just as they are. And then, yes, and then this we just need one. It's not directional. 2 7/8 by 4 1/8. And then I do want to look at this piece right here, because I do want this to have that. Have this actually. So 2 3/4. That's 2 5/8 by 3 3/8. 2 5/8 by 3 3/8. And yeah, you saw what I just did. I know. I heard you. And now we can get all these pieces down. So I wanted you guys to see this come together. What I usually do is once I have these measurements down, I would actually just start cutting all of this out. Clipping it, you know, doing like 5 at a time, using my clips, getting it all together, and then going back and gluing it all together. So definitely a production style. And glue all over my fingers again. I don't do anything to these spines. No. It would make me nuts. You can, you know, cut a strip and have that. And this is the beauty of pattern paper. Again, I'm not putting any magnets in here, especially on this one. It will be closed. So our final touches. I have a couple wonky dies, and the problem is I don't know where the tag came from. I'm sorry. I know this is my favorite things, so it's a wonky stitched, and we're going to put that there. All right, and again, I know it's covering up the pattern paper. I get it. But again, we're going to have that cuteness. And then I have this wonky stitched tag, and that's going to be our closure for that. So let's get these die cut. I have a friend, I don't know where she goes, but she finds these things. Where's my die? Is it big enough? So I'm going to fit this within my scraps. And again, all my solid cardstock is 110 pound. I just stick with that. I love this little thing. Well, hello. Is that Story? Did I say that correctly? We are making a gift card scrapbook album, I guess you can call it. Let me get these die cut and I'll show you. This can be done with your scraps. You can get 2 out of an 8.5 by 11 sheet. Get that. Move those there. Get this out of the way so I can trip over it. So this here will go into this pocket, and that's our closure. That's how that flap stays closed. Awesome. Well, welcome, Story. So here's my template. So this is where I started. Now this was already done. So this side here holds the gift card. And then this side here has, I call this a flup. And then the tag is the closure. And then we didn't do this pocket. And then we have this flip out here, and then this piece will sit here, so you can write your message here and all of that fun stuff. So it's just a little folio that we're making. So here I'm going to put my tag in there, and yes, we're going to put a little ribbon off of that, and then this is going to go here. And I like that. Adds a little bit of an interest there. You can leave that alone if you want. You could take this and put that behind the gift card if you wanted to. But I do like that. I don't want to go with the smaller size. Well, maybe I do. I do not like hiding pattern paper. I want to see the pattern paper. Let's die cut this one. I don't know if you guys are like that as well. I just don't like... Oh, look at that. I'm going to put that in there and die cut it. Oh, all right. There we go. Okay, I like that better. Yep. And what's cool is this is a good frame. Just saying. It can be a frame. So I'll put that with my scraps. All right. So I do like that size a lot better. So we're going to glue that in place. We're going to keep the tag the way that it is. This will be hidden. So that's where a note could be written. And when it closes, you don't see that. All right, now let's look at our front. So what I'm using for the front is a digital, of course. I love my digitals. And I just thought these were so cute. And I think so we have these little tiny cut aparts. They're just snowmen, but they are so cute. Look at them. Very neutral colors. But these are just adorable. Just absolutely adorable. Now, these are from, hold on. Bah. Small Art Scrapbooks. That is the name of the Etsy shop. And I'll have it linked below for the replay. Small Art Scrapbooks. Etsy. Let me leave that there again. If you want to take a picture, we'll slow down. Hello, Denise. How are you? Welcome. And I already know I want that there. It just makes a cute front. And I just thought these were perfect for them. For me, digitals are great that way because you can create those cut aparts that come with a paper collection. Now, I do want this to stand out just a little bit, so I am going to just add little touches to it. One touches, I'm going to use my mini pinking shears. And I'm going to cut around it, which is going to make it smaller, so that's cool. You can certainly tear this, which I'm sure you all thought that I was going to do that. Nope, not that time. So that did make it just a little bit smaller. This is where the vintage photo is going to come in. You guys know I must have vintage photo in my projects. And it's just going to be a little bit around the outside, not too much. Now you could add a pink. A pink would be really pretty around that. And I'm going to grab a scrap of craft. It's still 110 pounds. And I am just going to put this and frame this around that. So again, I don't measure when it comes to this. This is like my brain saying, oh, thank you. And just a little bit of a border, not much. Now, you could have used the back side of those pattern papers. And then I'm just going to cut along this. If you feel better measuring, please measure. And we'll put that there. And I think I'm going to prop that up. And just a little bit of dimension. You don't have to. Some of these I will prop them up, some of them I won't. I'm going to lift that up just a little bit. Now, what I like to do is I like to print out my own sentiments sometimes. And I did that for these. So I have all kinds of different fonts that I've purchased that I can use. Or you can, there's a lot of fonts available in Word. And what we can do is I'm going to trim this. I know I'm cutting off those tails, but that's okay. And again, I know what I need to get to. And this is going to have the ever so slight border. You can use a stamped image, whatever you want. But I printed these out. I was actually going to go another way with this project. And I changed my mind. Imagine that. That's why I always do mock-ups first when it comes to the showcase. Always. Always got a mock-up. And then that's going to sit right there. And you can add sequins, you can add charms. Of course, what did I forget? I forgot my closure. Yay! But it's okay. It really doesn't need one. And even though, and see, now the weight of this is going to hold that down. So that's why, I mean, she's just snapping. There's no magnets in there. And just because you forgot a closure does not mean that you're like, oh no, I messed this whole thing up. Absolutely not. Hang on. My favorite is organza ribbon. I think it's versatile. I think it's easy. And very reasonable. And just because we forgot the closure, as I said, don't give up. It's tempting. I'm not going to kid you. It's tempting. And there was a time where, yeah, I used to start it all over. Absolutely. Nope. Because we can just make it different. Because one of the things that I like with this folio, now, oh, it's so close. That's okay. I know you're all like, can she do it? Nope. It was close. So we can put this here. Tie our bow. And there you go. We have our closure. Because I do like to have the little bow on there. Now, in here, again, this is a small, little tiny folio. I have little tiny branding I print them on cardstock, and then I cut them out and I put them back here. So that will go there. Um, but when the recipient gets this, and this is solid. I mean, it's solid. You have your gift card on this side. So let's say that this is the gift card. That's too big. Let's put the gift card back in there. So here you have your gift card. That's going to fit snugly in there. Here, this is just decorative. It's for the closure. They can put the recipient, after the gift card is used, can put a photo here. Can put a photo here. Can put a photo here. Can use this tag to journal on of the photos that are there. Again, closure, and I'm going to put, not that. Here, we can put a photo here. We can put a photo here. And the giver can write their message on here if they want, or they can leave it blank so that the photo here and here, you can now journal here. And that's there. You don't have to glue this down, because then you have that piece to be journaled as well. And probably this, honestly, has turned into a template for me now that I know what this looks like, because this here, you could paperclip onto this piece so that they can journal on it. Again, I always like to create something that has functionality to it. I don't want the recipient to get this and say, oh, this is great, open it up, and then take the gift card and say, okay. No, I want, whether it's a card, whether it's a small folio, they can use it. And then after this is gone, they can put a photo here. So I may add another tag so that a tag can sit there as well, because then they can journal on that with what the picture is. And then this can sit somewhere on a mantle. Okay? Oh! Okay, now if you all send me a picture, you can email in it. What kind of closure is it supposed to be? Well, usually what I do, okay, that would be fun if you all sent me a picture and then I would put them in here. So this kind of sort of did come into the world of a template for me. And again, I'm okay with my templates being like this, because that's going to go in the box. Like when I was going through my ornaments that I was showing you before, all of these finished style things, these are the things that remind me, okay, this is how I put this together, along with this style template, with all of my notes. And I'm just going to put gift card here. And then I'll put this here. Now, what I'll do, too... Okay, let me answer Denise's question. I'm so sorry. Okay, closure. What was it supposed to be? So what I was in my head to do, underneath this panel here, all right, I would have glued this ribbon. Kept the ribbon underneath that. And then just swung this around, so that the ribbon is permanently attached underneath this pattern paper layer. This one is loose. Now, you could also glue it underneath that middle layer. All right, so you want to glue it under your front and your middle, all right, so that it's always connected. I usually just go always to the front, because then it is still connected, and then this can just dangle down. Totally personal preference. Personal preference. This way now, when they untie it, it's going to be loose. It's going to go somewhere else. The last few bits that each one will have, so this, I'm going to put in a paper clip to flap. So this is a flap. These are my technical terms. This is a flap, and if it was coming in this way, this would be a flap. So this incoming from the sides, they're flaps for me. This top is a flup because it's a flap that goes up. Flup. When it goes down, that's a flute. I know it doesn't sound right, you know, because it should be, but I don't want it to say flown. So that's a flute. So flute, flop, flap. Those are just the... Nobody said crafting isn't to be funny, strange, or different. So these are my notes. But yeah, we'll put a paper clip in here. Just like that. And again, that just adds a little bit of interest. And then for this, I'm just going to cut a small piece. And both of these will have a little bit. I'm hoping I didn't cut that too sharp. Oh, I probably did. But that's okay. We can get it to work. Yes. You just all get to laugh at me doing that. I found some tulle, too, in my stash. So both of them will have, and that just sticks up a little bit. Again, you can't take the journaler, the journal maker out of me. I gotta have a little bit of vintage photo, gotta have a little bit of a pop out, gotta have a little bit of metal, because those are the things that I just like. And then this will close up. So I'm gonna do one more, and then I'm gonna let you all go, if you all haven't gone already. And now that I've done this, so I always have a template, like I said, the ivory. There we go. All right, so I always have this. Loop. Yep. I hope so, because it would be awesome to fill all of your pictures in here. Yes. And please tell me who you are. Don't make me guess, because I'll guess wrong. So I always have this, and then I have one of these, and then they stick together, and then they go in my file. So that's how I keep this. Now, what I will also do, so in my community, I will write out the cuts and measurements for this. All right, and these will go into, again, for those of you that are new, I do have a community with 2 levels. The first level is free, where we do all kinds of different techniques with paper and all of that fun stuff. Whether it's cards, journals, master boards. This month we're doing ink smushing. Love ink smushing. And I will have this cuts and measurements template the way that I made it here. All right. And I'll have the base, and then I'll have notes when it comes to the pattern papers. Would you guys like that? Could be floop. Yep. So flop, floop. Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, those are, yeah, it is. Yep. Flap. Flop, floop. It's how I can distinguish between them. All right, so let's do another one, and let's see if I remember all the little tiny tips and tricks. But I will put together the cuts and measurements for this little project. Um, and they will be available to my members of my community. Again, free. And then for the members in the paid, they will also have access to that as well. So, very fun. All right, here we go. I'm getting these little tiny trimming pieces out of here, or else I'll go a little nuts. All right, so let's do one more. And then as I said, oh, Sharon, you're not late. I'm about to start another one of these, and then that's it. Flop. Oh my God. Okay, so. All right. So let's do another one. Sharon, I hope you're doing well. Thank you for stopping by. All right. So we need a base. I'm going to put a sticky on this. Cuts. Measurements. Yeah, my handwriting is horrible. There we go. So I'll do that. So we need our base. Base is cut 4 1/4 by 9 1/2. All right, so 4 1/4 by 9 1/2, and we scored it at 3 and 3 1/4, and we scored it at 6 1/4 and 6 1/2. So let's get this folded up. And I finally gave in and got one of these. I did that a while ago, but I did. And you know, again, this is a great craft fair or showcase idea. So if you want to use it, use it. And we're going to need one of these. So for some of you that have been waiting, I'm going to get all my score lines burnished here. The stamp collection is complete. We have, the designs are done, and it is in production. Well, no, it's not in production. I'm waiting for the proofs to come back. We finished that off yesterday. And wait till you see, we have, I have something very special in this collection. Very special. Okay, so how much would I sell these for? Honestly, so that's always something that I look at. So when I price like an item like this, and again, this is very, it's not personal to talk about. I don't have a problem talking about it. Where I say that it's sometimes a personal thing is because it's up to the person who's selling them. Okay, that's what makes that personal when I use that word. I don't have a problem explaining my prices or anything else when it comes to an item. Now, for me, when it comes to pricing, I do believe that you should be paid for what you create. Um, when it comes to stuff like this, I also feel that when it comes to showcases, craft fairs, I'm going to put my centerpiece in. And I'm just going to eyeball the center. You should have a mix. Um, a mix of items. And again, it also depends upon the craft fair that you're in. So for this craft fair, and it's a big one. I mean, this is pretty big. They've been doing this for a long time, and people, it's well known now. Um, I have stuff that ranges from. All right, so we got our flap and our flap. You know, I just had to say that, right? Just say. We're going to hold off on our pockets because we need to get our base cardstock in here. Now, before I pull in the cardstock, I'm going to real quick do my die cutting at the same time. I'm looking for scraps. Looking for scraps. So I have prices that range from $1.50 all the way up to $1.25. I have that huge range, and all prices in between. All prices in between. And yes, the 125 is they are scrapbook albums with lots of interaction going on. Because I believe that you should put yourself out there if you're going to do a craft fair. You know, show everything. Have I sold one of them? Yes, I have. Absolutely. Do I have people that bulk? I mean, my journals can range from 35 all the way up to, I mean, I did a journal that sold for, and again, I'm not boasting, I'm not bragging here. I don't want any comments of people saying that either. I've sold a journal of $190. It all depends. When I started this, it was just ornaments. That's all I did was ornaments, and every year I slowly add something in to the mix, and I do a small amount to see if it's received. And for me, that works. But I do bring those big tickets because now I have a following for them. Don't get me wrong, when I first sold that first huge journal, my sister goes with me. And I looked at her and I said, I have to step away. She goes, you okay? I said, yeah. And I went for a walk because I was excited. I cried. It was, and what was amazing is the person that bought it said, could you sign it? You'll find that person. So, that whole speech, Jill, I took you way around when it comes to that. But I like to explain when it comes to pricing that we should always, as crafters, understand that this takes time, whether we're using scraps, whether we're using part of a new paper pad, whatever that is, this takes time. And there are people that will appreciate the work that you do, and they will understand that work that you do, if that makes sense. I keep, while I'm doing this type of project, I keep all my scraps together in here, and then once I'm done the project, then the scraps go in my Christmas bin. So just know that you will you will have them. So with that said, as I said, I needed you guys to know that that's my thought process when it comes to this. For something like this, I look at a couple things. I get 2 for 1 piece of 8.5 by 11, and I know what I paid for this. Not what it sells for, what I paid for it. Yeah, I don't do that either. It's what I paid for it. Oh, aren't these pretty? Oh yes. And I just look at that and I said, okay, so these here I will put in my showcase for anywhere, and it's, again, it's just something that I'll think about. $3.50. That's what I'll put these for. They could go in for $4. And here's the process. If I sell 2 of these at $4, I just paid for this paper pad. It's the, that's how I look at these types of things. Journals and scrapbook albums are looked at totally different. But again, I my ornaments range from $2. Well, now they range from $3 up to $5. I do a tall and skinny journal folio thing with a tablet inside from the Dollar Tree, or excuse me, the $1.25 tree. That, you know, that store. We'll call it the tree. Okay. Those are $7.50 because that's using scraps and all of that stuff. So some people may look at that and say, you're not charging enough for this. I've seen people sell something like this for $7.50. To me, I'm fine with $4. But we need to remember it does take time to make our stuff. And I believe no matter what type of crafter you are, you should never be afraid to charge for your work. If somebody makes a comment, when I used to do the sewing, with quilts, yeah, there were some people who said, oh, well, I can get this at Walmart. Don't get upset. See, I would look at them and say, here are the directions to the closest one. I don't have that problem. It also depends, too, on, okay, I am loving these pattern papers. How precious are these pattern papers? telling you, I really do love these scrapbook.com collections. They are really awesome collections. I love the images. Ah, look at that. I just and again, it so you're always going to have those people. Now again, I had those people more so when I did, oh my god, when I did the sewing. When it comes to paper, I really don't have that. I haven't found that. And I find paper amazing because it creates conversation. Like there's this one woman, I look forward to seeing her. She comes by every year. She literally comes by every year. So I'm doing my pairs again. So we've done our base. I don't have my pockets in yet because I'm sorry. I'm now see now you all got me gabbing like there's no tomorrow. Because I have to put my 2 panels down first before I put my pockets on. All right. So, and I think I want this to be my cover. Yes, this needs to be my cover. Or do I want this to be my inside? I think I'm going to do the same thing. I think I'm going to do this and this. I need to figure out my cover. I think this is going to be my cover. Yeah, that's going to be my cover because we're going to have a snowman on top of that as well. And again, I don't like to cover up the pattern. So this is going to be my cover. All right, so I'm going to push that off to the side. This is the left, this is the right. Now I'm kind of liking all of these. So that could be the base. This could be the pocket. This could be the underside of the flup. And this could be the top of the flup. So see how I mapped that out? So this is our, if I lay this here, these two are going to go here. These two are going to go on the base here. And then these two, the stars will be on the inside, and the pie and the cupcake and the candy cane, oh, there's candy canes, are going to be here. And then this is going to go here. Does that make sense? What do you think? It's, again, oh, if I missed your story, if you're leaving, I see people saying bye. Oh, I hope you come back. Next week we're going to do the mini journals. Maybe I won't gab so much, and I'll get more done. Good morning, Anthony. Yes, Cordelia, use up your scraps. This is perfect. And now I also have these two, but that's okay because I'm going to, although I'm going to add these two. This is going to be the upper, this is going to be the inside. Okay. So yeah, I just gabbed, but that's what I did. I actually gave somebody directions one time to Walmart. Oh well. And again, that's their choice to think what they want. I'm not going to take that away from anybody. Um, totally their choice. Now we're going to cut our pieces up, and I'm going to do the inside first. So we're going to go left, middle, right. So we've got this flap over here. And again, even though I've got all the templates in the world and everything else, I still measure. So I'm going to snap this down. That's 2 3/4. And that's 3.5. So 2 3/4, since this is non-directional. We're going to go 2 5/8. By 3.5. Now the other thing that also helps you too, you can put your measurements here. So 2 3/4 by, because again, we're going to cover that up, by 3.5. And I put minus 1/8 of an inch. All right, so that's what that would look like. Minus 1/8. And we do the same thing here. So this is 3 by 4 1/4. So minus 1/8. 3 by 4 1/4 minus 1/8. Because I'm not putting a mat underneath my pieces, I'm letting the cardstock, which is all 110 pounds solid, to do the work and to be the mat. Be the mat. Be the mat. All right, and then this one here is 2 3/4. My width is always my first number, and then I measure the height. And this is 2 5/8. So negative 1/8. So again, 2 3/4 by 2 5/8 minus 1/8. So you can map it out that way. And then you won't forget. It does help. Trust me, it really does. The pockets, I'm going to let them alone only because I know for here, this is 1.5 height. So that tells me it's that tall. So then the minus the 1/8. Because these we trim down. They're a scant 3 inches. All right. But Jill, I hope I did get your answer. Where are the cute snowmen from? They are from this Etsy shop. Small Art Scrapbooks. I'll keep that there for a little bit. And I'll have the link down in the description after the replay. Have a good day, Ave. Yes, the new stamps have been put into the works. I'm just waiting for the proofs. So 2 3/4 is going to be 2 5/8, and then 3.5. This is now going to be cut by 3 3 3/8. Now you could write the actual size of the piece that you would cut, and look, we just cover up those numbers there. So that's that one. Now we've got directional here. So we want to make sure that this is 4 1/8 by 2 7/8. And then that's going to go there. So I do like to go straight across, get the cutting done. Now I know this is a pocket and I want this to go this way. So 1.5, we're going to go 1 3/8. I do bring this in, and I'm going to look at that. I'm going to line this up because, again, all the quirks that I learned, now I know I'm going to cut that right there, and I'm going to make a mark. I'm going to wiggle that to the line. And that is going to go right on that. So now we have a nice frame. So not only do you have a template, or I have a template, but I also, when I create the first one, we see the areas that I missed. Like I forgot to put the tie, the closure underneath the front cover, which is not a big deal. But again, I'm always thinking of the recipient. Okay, so now this is going to go up in here. So that's 2 5/8. That's going to be 2.5. By 2 5/8. So that's going to go there. I'm going to flip that down. And same thing. So 2 5/8, that's going to be 2.5. By 2 5/8. And that's going to go there. And now we've got this. So again, 1.5 is 1 3/8. We're going to bring it over to our tag. We're going to measure this. Lay that down. Little tiny foot mark. And then we'll cut. And then that's going to go there. And you can see that's why I lay my papers out, because I know I'm boom, 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 straight across. And now we're back to our 4 1/8 by 2 7/8. And now we glue. Now also what I do is, like with this, I will take a piece of scrap cardstock and cut it to the size of a gift card, and I will, or I'll print out a sticker and put it on a piece of scrap and put that in there and say gift card holder, gift card goes here, so that they know. I don't do stamps where, you know, photo here, place photo here. No, I just, but just to give them that idea. So that's kind of how I handle all that. Wow. And now we can just put all of our papers together. Do you have to put a notch? No. And I think I don't want to put a notch in this now. So see, as we create, we change things. We change our minds. I like it without the notch. And again, I put glue very close to the edge. And I'm just lining it up along the bottom. And that's why I just do all of my cutting first so that this piece doesn't go upside down. That's what I do. That's what I do. It's very easy to do. And I think we're going to do the same thing on this one. No notch. And we'll put that down. And now our other side. All right, our inside is set. So again, we'll have our tags sitting here. So we'll have our two tags sitting here. That's our closure for that flap. The gift card will go here. All right. And then this we will paper clip to that. And you can have fun with your paper clips. You can get fun decorated ones and all of that. But to me, paper clip is just fine. All right, now let's do the outside. So again, and we need to do this too. So this, I think, I'm going to choose this. Because I think that would look cute. But again, let's do our measurements. Now here's the other way you do your measurements. So we know that this is 3 by 4 1/4. So we know this is going to be 2 7/8 by 4 1/8. 2 7/8 by 4 1/8. And we also know that this is the front. So I can put an F there if I want. 2 7/8 by 4 1/8. And then this here, we know this is 2 3/4, so that's 2 5/8 by 3 3/8, because this is 3 1/2. So you could immediately just write your measurements for what your cuts are. All right? You can do it that way as well. I just like to put the F here to remind myself, and then put an arrow, because then I know that's my top when it comes to that. But let's do this one first. And I do want, yeah, I want it to go the same way. So we're going to cut it that way. So we've got that one there. this is going to be our center. And this is going to be our front and back. And now we get to glue all of these on. And I'm going to stop. Oh, Maddie. Yep. Almost did it. Again, I don't like putting my closures behind my pattern paper, usually, like 99.9% of the time. Do I like to do that? Oh, Jill, have a good one. Thank you so much for stopping by. Okay. So we're gonna hold that. So we do the middle. I heard you all screaming. I heard it. I heard it. All right. Now, for the closure. What I do is I like to take a piece of double-sided tape. I'm going to take that, I'm going to fold that in. I turn it to the side, and again, we are just eyeballing these things. And I know that makes some crazy, because remember, this is 4 1/4 tall. All right, but this is one of the reasons why I enjoy creating on a grid, because now I'm going to take a double-sided piece of tape and just put this here. Make sure it's within the measurement of my pattern paper piece that I cut. And do I want to use... No. I'm not crazy about that gold. I'm just saying. No. But, oh, I put the pin in there. Okay. Let's check it out. No. Mm-mm. Nope. Nope. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Nope. Well, there's white. Huh. That's a light. No, it's supposed to be silver. I'll call it light gray. Oh yeah, dark gray. Yep. So when I get my organzas and I'm trying to go through them, I do enjoy paper mart for them. They did have, um, and still do, have the best prices. But trying to get it is difficult. All right. So what I do is now that I have that there, I'm going to measure a piece out. And I just go about 6 or 7 inches out on each side. And I cut. I like big bows when it comes to the piece. And then again, I'm going to set this up on my grid. I'm going to remove the release paper. I'm going to add a little bit of glue. I'm going to extend it out. And then say, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I'm just going to lay it down. Now I'm going to get my pattern paper in place. If I was doing this underneath this one as well, then I actually would cut 2 pieces and just make them separate. I don't like it when it crosses the spine. Here we go. Now we've got our closure in here. So now I'm going to add my pieces just to get them in. So we've got our 2 tags, and I want to cut 2 pieces. And here's where you can have, you know, some fun with your ribbons. You know, you can add different colors. So here, yeah, I'll put this silvery one in there. And I know, because somebody will say, you're wasting ribbon. I'm not. I'm really not. And then you can put one on the edge of this one as well. I'm just going to choose not to, because we already have the 2 pieces. And you can choose how tall or whatever you want your ribbons to be. And I usually make that choice once the pieces are in, because maybe they are up too high, or maybe they're too long. There are times where they're too short. I'll pull it back out and I'll put that in my ribbon scrap bin that I have. So we've got that there, and we've got that one there. That goes in like that. And that's not too bad. I think they're a little long. So we're just going to trim them down just a little bit. We don't need to go crazy. Just a little bit coming off the top. We'll close this up. Again, I do like big bows. So you'd be fine even with 6 inches on each outer. 6 inches for me is my minimum. But in case they add something, I want them to be able to expand. So I like the long bow. This here, we're going to do the same thing. Maybe we'll, and I'm going to trim it. Again, I'm just eyeballing that. We're going to distress, because why not? This is the best way that you can add interest to your front if you don't want to add leaves or flowers or anything like that. You can, again, do this with scissors. I don't recommend it, but you can. I'm a klutz, so I don't do that. This is where our vintage photo comes in. And, well, that's not big enough. And we're going to grab a scrap. And we're going to frame our piece. You can measure if you want. I choose not to. I'm not going to distress that. Just going to go around it with the vintage photo. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put that on top, and I'm not going to pop this one up. I like the popping up, but I look at the number that I'm going to create, and we're going to put that down there. So that little distress edge just, woof, you know, zhuzhes it up. Wrong scissors. Going to put this onto our craft as well. This just helps to punch these up just a little bit, but a very thin border on this one, thinner than what we've even put for our focal point. And then we're going to glue this down. And we'll tuck that right down there. So for me, the first one's like the pancake scenario. Your first pancake, it's never perfect. That's my favorite one though. But it's not perfect. It's not gonna cook right. It's not gonna do this or that. So that first one that I make, that helps me to work out even more kinks when it comes to the process. And this is what the final ones will look like. So we've got our ribbon in the back for the closure. Yay! Thank you all for screaming. Here, I'll put my little branding thingy, because, you know, that's a process too. Yeah, I've got to do that. Again, part of my branding is the vintage photo and the little poofs and the metal. So then when the recipient opens it, this comes up. They can put a photo here. You can put a photo here. They can put a photo back here, and they can journal on this. The gift card will sit here. So once they're done, they can put a photo here, and then one of these tags can move over here. They can journal on that with the photo. A photo here, here, and here, and then this tag acts as the closure to all of this, but the recipient can use this as the journaling spot as well. Okay? So again, I always, whenever I create something like this, I want to know, is it functional? Is it functional after the fact? And that's what I was looking at when it comes to this gift card holder. It can become a mini photo album or a mini journal for the recipient so that it doesn't go floop. Yeah, floop is the technical term for trash in my world. All right. So, well, hello, Scraps to Crafts. I've had that description. Oh, yeah, Maddie. Oh, yeah. No, this is awesome. This is actually, it's a thread cutter. That's what this is. Quilters use these, hand quilters. They're thread cutters. Just saying. So, again, I look at functionality after you create a piece. You know, how can the recipient continue to use it? And I thought that this idea actually was just going to be a card with a pocket so that the gift card can go into it. It evolved to this, and I'm more comfortable with this. Now for a gift card, you can certainly do the same thing. And again, awesome with scraps. Standard A2 size card, 4 1/4, 5 1/2. It can be a landscape, it can be a top folding, however you want. And choose your cut apart. I put a doily behind this. These are 2 scraps that weren't this size, but why not layer them up? Did it also on the back. Again, just using those scraps up, just making sure that they were at least 5 1/2 or 5 3/8 wide so that I could cut my strips. And then on the inside, your gift card would sit in here. Here's the 2 tags, and then here's the panel where they're here. They could write their message to the recipient. So if you just wanted to make a card for somebody and make them gift cards, you could do this as well. And then here's the whole Happy Holidays or Merry Christmas going across. So 2 tags, and then your gift card would sit in this pocket, and then your message there. So you can do that. Now for this one, yes, the ribbon is behind. It's 2 pieces, and it's behind here as well. And then the same thing. You would just tie your bow. So that's how this started. And then it evolved to that. It's just how my brain works. I think they're equally as cute. When it comes to that. So, yeah. And then it just closes up. And we tie our bow. That's all we do. We tie our bow. I'm getting better at tying bows, too. Maybe not. See, I jinxed myself. Just saying. Okay. And there we go. And that's what it looked like. And I do put these in clear cello sealed envelopes when I sell them. I always keep one out. I actually will take one of these and make it a display, and then that's what sits out for everybody, and then they can just flip through the different choices on my stand when we did this. So, okay, and this is where we started. Well, actually, I don't know where it went, but my template's where we started. Now here it is. So, template, next prototype, and then the final. All right. So what I'll do is, like I said, I'll do a cuts and measurement sheets or sheet, and I'm going to put it in my community, and it's going to be sitting in the free level. So this will be available. So if you're not a member there, please make sure after the replay or after this is done, check back in a little bit. Just give me a few minutes. Check back in a little bit, and then you'll see the link to the community, or you can go to a previous live video or other video, and you'll see the link down there where you just sign up. And then you'll be able to have, and I'll have the cuts and measurements for the base, and I will add in parentheses next to it, that'll be the cut for the pattern paper and little tiny notes. You just got to give me time, give me about a week to put that together, because, you know, that doesn't happen overnight. I wish it did, but I will have that there. For the month of September, we are going to, in the free community, we're doing ink smushing. Just basic ink smushing. I'm going to show you 3 different mediums that you can use for ink smushing. And we're just going to have fun doing that. And then I'm going to show you what you can do with those ink smush panels. How you can have the different sizes, how you can have a full page, and everything else. It won't be like a huge deep dive like it was for Simplicity. All right, Simplicity was August, and we really dove into my concept of what I feel Simplicity is and the evolution of pattern paper. And trust me, there's still more, but it was a huge deep dive. So, as I said, September in the free is going to be all about ink smushing and the different mediums that you can use. Now I do have a paid level as well, and that for September I finally figured out we are going to do this is like a scrapbook album. It's a mini, very basic. If you're interested, you should start with something like this. We are doing a deep dive into a project of a 4x6 scrapbook album over there using a paper collection. So that's what September is. All right. So I hope you'll join us over there. These tutorials are full step-by-step tutorials. I try not to gab, but they are very detail oriented, where I am filming live and I'm taking you step by step with what's in my head, how I look at something, how I start, and how I get there when it comes to that. All right, so that's what that membership is all about. I think that's it. Does anybody have any questions? Let's see. Scratch press. Hello, Diane. Okay. I hope you had a good time here. They're fun. So what do I think my best sellers are? So I think my #1 bestseller are my ornaments. Because that's kind of like center stage. Now there's 2 secondary things, and this is going to sound absolutely hysterical. So I love stocking stuffers, right? I just love the concept of a stocking, and I love stocking stuffers. Now, one of the things that I don't do, and I'm going to clean up a little bit while we close out here. Now, one of the things I don't do is I don't do food. Um, and I know that if you do the Hershey Nuggets packs or the Ghirardelli Square packs, um, they they are big sellers. People, they do flock to them. So anyway, all of these things, I'm going to be doing about 45 to 50 of these. Yes. And I'm using, like I showed, these three collections up there. So they'll all be different, and I'll probably put more in with my scraps. Um, the But I love stocking stuffers. So there are lip balm boxes that I make. And I actually make the box out of scrap pattern papers. It's what a buster of my scraps this is. Um, and then there's this little tiny circle stamp that Sabrina created. That's awesome. And then I use one of my scallop punches. And then I put a lip balm in there. I found the best lip balms from Amazon. Oh, they, oh, they, they are wonderful. They're soft. They're not greasy. They're just absolutely wonderful. I wish they came in peppermint, but they don't. So I have those boxes. When I tested it out, I think I had like 50 of them. Yeah. They went the first day. And my sister, love my sister. She looks and she goes, well, can't you make more when you get home? Oh, yeah. Yeah, we can just whip that out. Oh, and I buy little tiny bows and put them on there from the Dollar Tree. I'm like, oh, yeah, it's so easy. Just, whip all that out. She has no concept. But she's cute about it. I'll give her that. So the lip balms, and then I also do nail file holders with a nail file in it. They will sell out. They go crazy because I do one for, I think it's like $1.50 or three for $4, something like that. I forget what that is. So that they're almost tied with the ornaments. They're the big things. The second thing are my journals and mini scrapbook albums. People absolutely love them. Which, that just makes me happy. Absolutely happy. That people love it. They start flipping it, they start turning it, and to the point where they don't want to touch them. That happens a lot with my journals. People will love them and they won't touch them. So my sister, she handles the booth, and I'll come out from behind it and say, touch it. Open it. Take this book and look at it. So I kind of like force them to do that. Because again, it's paper. They should be able to do that. But these are usually always covered as well. Majority, even my ornaments, they're packaged up as well. So yeah. Simplicity here on my channel, Maddie, does have a playlist. So on my YouTube here, there is a Simplicity playlist. I think it's called Simplicity, or Back to Basics, or Simple Card Making, something like that. I forget what I called it. So I do have a playlist for that on here. And then when it comes to the community, it's August of 2025. And I think what I'm going to do, because the only thing that I'm not seeing in the community, and I love this base, this program that I'm using for it, is you can't search, um, which to me is annoying. I think you guys should be able to search, because what I'm going to start creating is um, a list. It's going to be like the third thing in the introduction and information and all of that stuff. And it's going to list out, okay, so for April of 2025, this is what we did. In here, this is what we did for this month. And just have it broken down so that at least you can get yourself to that time frame. So, and I think that would help. But I've already asked them, okay, why can't we search? I want to search. I want to be able to search. I need so, and the guys are really great. This group is very good that I work with when it comes to that. All right. I will also have linked down below Small Art Scrapbooks. They are the creators of these little digitals. They're just way too cute, way too adorable. When it comes to that, and all of the pieces are going to have these snowmen on them. I just think they're just precious, completely, absolutely, completely precious. So I'll have them linked down below as well, so that you have that. And again, along with the community. I hope I see you there. But this is going to continue next weekend. I will be live. Yes. And if you want, we'll make those mini journals. I'll show you how to make mini journal ornaments. And again, please know that, you know, anything that I show, even the cuts and measurements guide that I'll have in the community, if you're in fairs and or show, I call them showcases, but if you're in a fair or anything like that, have at it. Again, you just can't take it to manufacturing. Or any is going to do that. And that's the statement that I put there. But anything I do, yes, is a folio with tags included? Is that a question for me, Maddie? Yeah, everything that's in here that will go. That's for this, for my showcase. And again, these are probably going to be $3.50. And for those of you that just came in, if you're looking at, there's a whole gab fest that I did maybe about midway through this, where I explain pricing, because it's a personal concept for people. I don't mind talking about it. That's not what I mean, but it's everyone looks at pricing differently. Okay, so it's a personal choice, but I do go through that. So yeah, these are going to sit at $3.50 when it comes to that. Okay, so next weekend we're going to do mini journals. Again, grab the scraps. It does not have to be vintage. It does not have to be anything. We're going to do all kinds of mini journals, and I'm going to show you how you can turn those into ornaments. They're great keepsakes when it comes to that. All right, guys, please have an awesome week. Continue to stay safe and healthy, because, you know, that's what truly is most important when it comes to all of the fun that we have in what we do. Continue to be creative, have fun with it. Stay tuned for the links down below. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I'm honored, and I am truly, truly grateful. I really am. I have a ball doing these lives, and I hope you all enjoy them as well. I will see you next Sunday. Well, I'll talk to you next Sunday. But until then, take care, and I love you all. See ya.